Welcome back. Derek Whiskey Miller here.
Simpson here.
And we are stirring the pot. What will probably be one of our most controversial episodes that we ever release. We have decided to do a War of the Wheaters. There's really two big players in the wheated bourbon market. One that everybody clamors after and you can hardly find, and that is Weller, the original wheated bourbon. It's got a couple different offerings. The other is Maker's Mark with its pretty red wax. These are both wheated bourbons, which means their second grain instead of rye is wheat. There's no rye in these. Distilled the same way. They meet all the bourbon standards. And rumor has it, it's a very similar recipe.
Very similar. There's some underdwellings of a Van Winkle and a Samuels exchanging thoughts and notes back in the day.
That's what makes the most sense. Official Maker's Mark lore is that Miss Samuel, or was it Miss Samuels? No, she did the wax. It was Mr. Samuels. Oh, Eric sketched out on me. He'll be back. There he is. Mr. Samuels, way back when, baked a whole bunch of breads with different mash bills. And when he finally found one that tasted good, that's what he rolled with his bourbon. I don't know what wheat Weller uses, but Maker's Mark famously uses red winter wheat. So, on the low end of both, you have just plain old Maker's Mark, 90 proof, and you have Weller Special Reserve, the green label, also at 90 proof. We are kind of kicking it up a notch just for our palates and putting Maker's Mark 101 against Old Weller Antique, also known as Weller 107. Mm-hmm. There's also a Weller 12 year that kicks out at 90 proof. It's age stated. Then a Weller full proof that is 120. Is that correct?
Or 116.
116. And then, of course, they do single barrel and all that fun stuff. We chose not to do Maker's Mark cask strength against the Weller 107 because the cask strength varies, obviously, depending on the cask strength. And both of ours hit punches way too high over 107 for it to be a fair blind. Right. So we went with the limited release that I see everywhere now, which is the Maker's Mark 101. So we're doing 101 against 107. That's 6 points.
114 on that Weller full proof. My bad.
Weller full proof. Thank you. Thank you, sir. So that's what we're doing. We got them blinded. We're doing Maker's Mark 101. I'll get these other guys out of the way. Against Weller 107.
I'm actually ready to drink some whiskey.
Let's do it. I've blinded mine. I know Eric's blinded his. So I don't know what I'm drinking. We're just going to jump right in.
All right.
Sample numero uno. It's funny I mentioned grape because there it is right there. It's like Diamond Tap.
I'm going to thick peanuts. Thick.
Like a grape chewing gum. A little bit of oak.
Joey. I'm getting peanut brittle, brown sugar, kind of a musty corn. Like the not candy apple.
Ooh.
Not candy apple, but the candy off the candy apple.
A little bit of cooked sugar.
Yeah, cooked sugar with a little bit of I don't know. It smells like sugary gritty. Like it's almost like I can feel a density in the smell. Does that make sense?
It does, because I was about to just say I'm getting that now. Like it's opened up a little bit. I kind of gave it a shake. I'm getting a lot more just straight syrupy sugar. like not like molasses. Like there's not that molasses smell. It smells sweet. And there's kind of some of that cinnamon back note to it.
Ooh. Got a little kick to it. Still very peanutty. Like peanut brittle, almost like the
like tub,
almost like the shavings of a honey roasted peanuts, like at the bottom.
The skin.
Yeah.
So this is nice and sweet. It's a real rich mouthfeel. I get a lot more corn off of it than I thought I would. Kind of fades mid palate to a little bit of oak. The finish isn't as long as maybe I would like it to be. But I do end up with, and this is common with Weeders, that kind of grassy, like aftertaste.
Okay, there's my Wrigley's.
Not bad.
Yeah, that was kind of like Boston baked beans.
It was super sweet. I was surprised at how sweet it was.
Not bad.
I'd drink it.
I did.
Numero dos. So this was not as oily as the other one.
Well, that's right.
My 2 is your 1. I get peanuts. Yeah, it's not like roasted peanuts. It's like green peanuts. It's like grandma's boiling peanuts, and you just pulled up in the driveway. Only y'all folks from the South will understand that.
I think my 2 is your 1 as well.
Sweet. It's like grandma's making peanut brittle. That's something I think everyone can universally understand. A little bit of cinnamon. A little bit of that grassy note that I get on the palate.
Tough time with the nose on this one.
Yeah, if we do truly have them flip flop, my 1 was just kind of nondescriptly sweet. Oh yeah,
I'm getting a little more fruit on this one. Almost like overripe strawberries. Still getting that kind of candied sugar off of. Actually, I'm actually more getting the apple this time. Like a crisp red delicious apple. Brown sugar. Little bit of grapiness, not too much. Kind of a musty wine note. I'm gonna taste it. So this one to me had more of a, I guess you could say, had more of an ass to it.
I would say that.
This one had more of an ass to it. Where, let me get misogynistic for a minute. If sample number 1 was a skinny person,
easy now.
Yeah, a skinny person.
Sample number 1 is you. Sample number 2 is me.
Yeah, that's fair.
Sample number 2 is a chonk.
Yeah, this one. Yeah, sample 1 was skinny but fiery, like Barney Fife. This is a Barney Fife weeder.
Nip it.
This is a Barney Fife weeder. The first one I had was thin, but on the back end it bit you.
I'm getting like a faint acetone on my number 1 now.
The second one is more like Andy Griffith. it's welcoming. It's not what I would call super flavorful as far as like it's like three notes. But the three notes are really good.
Yeah, I wouldn't call it weak or watered down.
No, not weak or watered down. Just I would to me this is more sippable. I would drink this one straight neat. The sample one, I might throw a little bit of water in, to tame it a little bit because I just think it's a little. I think it's a little harsh. Not what's the word I'm looking for? Not it's not bad.
I think yeah. No, yeah. It's not as mellow as my number one. So that's what I'd say. My number one was good. It's sweet, full bodied, not complex, but also not thin and watered down. It's not a 1 or 2 note bourbon. It is really sweet though. My sample 2, it's got kind of that addition of that it's sweet, but then it's got that kind of peanutty flavor. It's got some of that cinnamon spice mid palate. It's got a good fair bit of oak on it, and a nice lingering finish. I don't get that with my number one.
I didn't get oak on either of them personally.
But this number 2 would be a bourbon that I would drink on a daily basis because I never drink a lot. You know, if I do 2 fingers, that's going to be the absolute most that I do. So I want it to be something that's, like we said, got an ass to it. And this one does. It's full flavored. It's full bodied.
Sample
but
2.
Good. It's really close. I'm surprised it's this close.
Sample 2 takes it for me.
What's that?
Sample 2 takes it for me. I prefer sample 2 over 1. 1, I would give sample 2 a 85, 86. Sample 1, I would give like a 78, 79. Sample two did not blow my socks away, but it was better than the first one.
These are both close. I already drank all my sample 1, so I can't go back and taste it again. Just because my tongue is still tingling from number 2 now, in terms of like an easy sipper, and I'm gonna have to go with my sample 1. Shall we reveal?
Yes. So my sample 1 was Maker's 101.
Yep.
And my sample 2 was OWA.
And my sample 1 was OWA.
So we both picked we both picked OWA.
I don't know how I feel about that.
Well, I mean, to preface this, I have told you that as much disdain as I have for the lore and the things, this is my favorite weeder.
That's fair. If I had to
aside from my original favorite weeder, this is my favorite weeder.
Yeah. If I had to rate them and give them like a number score, Maker's 101 would rank higher. It had a better nose. It had a full, like just a full rich flavor for me. Like I love that peanut flavor. I love the cinnamon flavor. I love the finish. But really when I do these, it comes down to if I wanted to have a glass or two, what is going to be the best pour regardless of what mood I'm in. And for me, the Maker's 101 had, with all of its character and spice and flavor, it maybe would not be like an everyday pour. But I could see if it wasn't allocated to shit, coming home and pouring a glass of Weller 107 every day, regardless of if I had a good day or a shit day.
Maker's 101 would be my shit day whiskey.
Yeah, if I
wanted to not feel something,
yeah, definitely. If I wanted to be reminded that I am alive, you know, because and that's, you know, we all have different whiskeys for different things. You know, I've got a decanter that's what they call Rust Breed, which is rare breed and Russell's 10, and that is a spicy concoction. That's not an everyday drinker. My everyday drinker is Evan Williams cut with Evan Williams bottled and bond cut with Evan Williams 1783. It's just good bourbon flavor. There's not a lot of thinking you need to do with it. It goes down like a fat kid on a seesaw. It's just perfect. But again, if I wanted to make a drink count flavor wise or proof wise, I'd go for the Rust Breed. In that same turn, this is the smooth, just throw it back, you know, maybe you're over at the house, throw back a couple glasses sitting on the couch or whatever.
Smoother with a higher proof point.
Yeah, this is the end of the night. We're, you know, pouring one last one before we go to bed. We want to make it count, you know, throwing some flavor in there. So,
all right.
Yep. So Eric had to bounce off, but we'll finish up talking about. So we both, I mean, Weller 107 is good bourbon. Old Weller Antique is what everyone calls it. So finding this, it is heavily allocated because, as Eric said, word got out that this is the stuff that didn't make the cut for Pappy. So if you want the next best thing, go for Weller. Most of your big box liquor stores, ABC, Total Wine, stores like that are going to have this on some sort of lottery system based on like reward points, to where if you spend X amount, you get entered in and you maybe get to buy a bottle, you know, every quarter. That's how I came about this one. And I bought it at retail, which was about $30. And based on my taste, I think that's fair. I'd pay upwards of $40 for this, maybe 45. But Old Weller Antique, you could, if you went out on bourbon secondary, which is you shouldn't do, but there's people selling this stuff for like $150. You know, it's that popular. All I can tell you, if you want to find a bottle, check your smaller stores. Chances are they have it. It may or may not be marked up. Just again, do your research, know what MSRP is, and if you see it on the shelf for $150, if you absolutely want it and you got the cash to spend, go for it. Just know that you're going to be thoroughly underwhelmed by the flavor for $150. Maker's 101. Again, this is a limited release, but it's damn near everywhere now. Runs you about $35. Comes in a nice box, and it's just a step up from their normal, 90 proof bottle. A lot of people kind of snub their nose at it because it is only 8 proof points below cask strength and $5 cheaper, only $5 cheaper than cask strength. But at this proof, it does kind of lend a whole new flavor to Maker's Mark. It's way different from cask strength. It's way different from the 90 proof. So bravo, Weller. I didn't think it would turn out like it did, but it did. Sometimes you don't think it'd be like it is, but it do. This is a great sipping bourbon. It's nice, sweet, full-bodied. It's not going to let you down. If you want something with a little more punchy character, go for the Makers 101. It's not going to disappoint you either. But both of these are fantastic bourbons. So on behalf of my partner and myself, thank you for tuning in. Please be sure to like, share, subscribe, and follow on all our various platforms. We do appreciate you sticking with us and supporting us. If you want to hear the uncut audio behind all of our episodes, check us out on our podcast, EDWNCF, on Shout Engine and Apple Podcasts. Again, that's EDWNCF. That's Eric's Drink Whiskey, non-chill filtered. Like I said, we had fun doing this one. We knew it would stir up some shit when we start talking about one of the sacred cows of bourbon, which is Weller. But we thank you for joining us and hope you enjoyed it. Until next time, cheers.